All right, welcome back. Hope you're doing good. Hope your trucks are treating you good. I want to talk about how I negotiate, and then I'll talk about the process with F2F. But negotiating, you probably like me, you've watched a lot of these other YouTubers over the years, and there's several that come to mind that I won't mention any names, but it seems like they put out a couple of videos every single day, and they're telling you that they're making, they're negotiating these agents out of thousands of dollars on every load, and they're doing every load they're doing, it pays $5 to $6 a mile, and all kinds of stuff, and it's just not reality. It is not. I've been on the load boards for several years now, and I can tell you that you can negotiate on most loads. You can get a little extra money. Some loads you can get a lot of extra money, but if you're going to be sitting there negotiating, trying to get extra big money out of agents, you're probably going to be sitting most of the day, and you're probably going to be making 100 calls a day, and you're probably going to be on that load board every second of the day. Is it worth it? It's a judgment call. But so here's how I negotiate, and there's several different factors to consider, and I'm just going to ramble here. These are in no particular order, but when every time I'm looking on that load board and I look at a specific load, there are lots of things that go through my mind. So number one, if they're already offering good money on the load, I get suspicious right away. There's something going on. Now, it could be they just need it moved right away. They don't want to haggle. They just want somebody there and take the load. But most of the time, I've seen it's because something is up with that load. Either you're going to have to be waiting most of the day to pick up or deliver, or it has extra stops, or there's something going on with it. And if you've never done that particular load before, you don't know the right question to ask to get those answers. So it comes with some experience there in that particular load or that lane. So I guess the biggest thing probably is just knowing your lane, and if you run a certain lane over and over, you pretty much know what it pays and what you can get out of the agent. And if you haven't, then the DAT load board has a lot of useful information. It can tell you everything about that lane, how many trucks are there, how much it's paid over the past a month or so, and it could really help you out. But it all comes down to how much the customer and the agent want to pay you, and them how big of a hurry they're in, because they could list it for a relatively good rate and know they're really not in a hurry to move it that day, that they've got time to wait. So that's why you could be wasting a lot of your time trying to negotiate big money out of these agents on loads, because you could just make call after call, and they're just in no hurry to get that load out. So, and one of the ways you can sort of figure that out is how long that load's been on the load board, and that most load boards tell you exactly how long it's been posted. So know your lane. That helps definitely. And then 1A with that is knowing what you're getting into. I steer clear of loads with multiple stops, just because you have enough trouble when you have one pickup and one drop. You never know what's going to happen. Somebody's going to show up late, forklift breaks down, anything could happen and just waste your whole day. And then if you throw in 6 extra stops, you just never know what happens. And sometimes it goes on without a hitch, and I've had it several times. And then sometimes the count's wrong on something, and just anything can happen and just ruin your whole day. And suddenly that big money you're getting paid isn't that big when you're wasting a whole day. So it's a judgment call. 99% of the time when you're looking at that load board, you have a $3 a mile load that's you've done before. It's super easy. You can get in and out and get done in a day and make $1,000. Or should you wait around and try to negotiate money out of some of these agents and waste half of your day? and miss that $1,000 load. So really is a judgment call. And I used to try to do that at Landstar. I did it quite a bit, didn't try, but and I know I leave lots of money on the table because I like to come home with an empty trailer, and that way, when I get up Monday morning, I can make my decision on where I want to go or if I want to go. And one of the things I used to do at Landstar is, since I'm a couple hours from Houston, I would wake up Monday morning and I'd start, going over the load board looking for that hazmat load. There are a lot of hazmat loads come out of Houston, and they usually pay really well. And so I would just wait sometimes half a day to wait for that hot, hazmat load to come out and go into West Texas or wherever and make really good money on that load. Sometimes it worked out, sometimes it didn't. But that's one strategy. But if you're going to be try to negotiate big money out of all these agents, you're going to be sitting around a lot. And I suspect some of these, other drivers that you see on YouTube that are telling you, they've negotiated thousands of extra dollars out of every load. They're probably doing a couple loads a week, and they're probably sitting around quite a bit at the house waiting for that special load to drop on the board. But that's just my opinion, and like I said, I've been doing this several years, so it just doesn't seem like reality to me. Now, you need to get paid for absolutely everything you do, and anytime I'm there for over 2 hours, I'm going to get paid detention, but that usually isn't negotiating $1,000 extra out of something. It's usually a set amount, anywhere between $50 an hour. I've seen it up to $150 an hour. But these guys, I've seen one guy said, yeah, the drop off was 10 miles away, so I got $500 extra out of them. Maybe if they didn't know where the drop off was and you had to sit around and all that, but it's not reality. It doesn't happen every single day. So be aware of that. And negotiating is just like anything else. Do you want to mess with it? If the load's paying good, sometimes my calls go something like this. Hey, I see you got a load going to Nebraska paying $5,000. Can you go $5,600 on that? No, that's all the money we got in it. Okay, well, I'll take it. And I knew before I called I was going to take it, but I still tried to get extra money out of it. But some of these loads, they put it on there for what they've got, and you won't get much out of them. But having said that, I do usually end up getting some extra money out of them. I think they expect that. I think they know people are going to negotiate or what have you. But if you're thinking you're going to negotiate every single load and get lots of extra money, then you're probably going to be sitting around a lot. And one other thing that comes up occasionally, not a lot, but during some of these negotiations, some of these loads are up for bid. So what that means is, they'll ask you, how much will you do this load for? And if you name a price, you're locked into that load, and if that bid is accepted. And the catch with some of these, if it's a bid, you have to ask them when the bid ends, because it may be at 12 o'clock that night. It may be 5 o'clock the next morning. So you will have to sit and wait until that bid ends to see if your bid has been accepted. So beware, if it says anywhere on it that it's a bid, you need to ask, when does the bid end? So I like I said, I try to negotiate a little bit out of every load, and a lot of it is a lot of experience with that particular agent or that particular load. Just knowing what you've got before and what you might be able to talk them out of. And a lot of these agents they like the relationship. So if you've done a load with them before, they will either call you to see if you're in the area, or if you call on that load and you mention, hey, I've done this load before, they like that. They like that stability, and they'll give you some more money for just, for being a good driver, basically, being reliable. So, yeah, just it's a judgment call. You could sit there all day long and wait for that one load that you're going to talk them an extra few $100s up on, or you can just go ahead and take that first load that paid good and get on the road. My philosophy is take the good paying load while it's there. So, having said all that, it really is just a judgment call. Some people, they'll just look for the load with the most miles. They really don't give too much of a care of if it pays really good or not. They'll get all those miles in, and that's money in the bank too. So who knows? It just, you got to know also your bills. So one of the things when I first started that I used to do was I would try to pay my bills in a day and a half, my truck payment, insurance, and everything. If I could do that, then everything else would be profit for the rest of the week. So that's one way to think about it. Some people know their costs exactly per mile. Some people will not accept a load below a certain dollar amount. All kinds of strategies there. But all right, on to F2F and their process. So one of the things that I was concerned about before coming over was the process of getting rate cons approved through F2F. And I can tell you 99% of the time that I go through it, they're usually approved within 10-15 minutes. So here is the process in a nutshell. You find a load that you want, you negotiate, and whatever you get, you tell that agent, send me a rate con with that rate on it. They'll email you that rate con, you forward that to F2F, they sign it, you send it back. That easy. Sometimes even easier than that. If it's an electronic signature, you forward it to F2F, they sign it, and you're done. The thing that I was worried about before, and that hasn't happened yet, but it might, is that I would negotiate a really good rate on the load, and I would say, send me the rate con, and I'd be waiting for F2F to sign the rate con. And in that time, 2 or 3 people might have called this agent and say, hey, I'll do this load for, $500 less than that last guy. And that hasn't happened yet, but I'm waiting for that time when F2F just isn't on the ball. But so far, so good. So the process is, it might sound a little complicated, but it really comes down to 2 steps: getting the rate con from the agent and getting F2F to sign it. That's it. Sometimes it takes as little as 10 minutes. Sometimes it takes, for the most part, I'd say on average it's taking about 15 minutes. There are some agents out there that F2F has not worked with yet, so you have to do a carrier package, and they will send that to you, and you forward it to F2F, they fill it out, and you send it back. There's a lot of information on those packets, but F2F has filled them out really quick. I guess they probably do them every day. So, and the other situation that I run into is when I'm doing these loadout trailers or empty trailers. Some of these agents want a insurance certificate from F2F's, naming them as the I forget what it's called now, not the beneficiary, but if anything happens to the trailer, that agent would get paid for that. And so that really, it doesn't take long at all either. So really impressed with the process at F2F of getting those things signed and getting it back so you can get on the road, because until I get that thing signed, my truck does not move. Now, I could take a chance and haul butt and start that way, but more often than not in the past, when I've, assumed something, I've been wrong. So I just wait 10 or 15 minutes, wait for it to get signed, and then I start heading that way to pick up that load. So F2F has done a good job on that part. Really did not need to worry about that at all. But when you've never done a certain thing, you tend to worry about it until you see it in motion. So there you go.